Greetings to all of you. In this video, I want to talk about the upcoming full moon on January 13th. And it's coming in the midst of some profound shifts that are happening in January. And as I'm recording this on January 6th, we've just come through some major X flares and a powerful geomagnetic storm that has been impacting our Earth and our geomagnetic field. And these energies that we're going to continue to experience in a powerful way across 2025, as we're in this time of solar maximum, are impacting us physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I'm going to put a link below with a video that was just put out yesterday by Stephen Burns about this powerful geomagnetic storm and how these energies are impacting us and supporting us in these powerful shifts that we're going to be experiencing in our consciousness. These energies coming from the sun, coming from the cosmic center, are reverberating with the energies of the earth and then impacting our Earth's geomagnetic field, impacting our bodies, and impacting our energy field, our energy bodies. As we're moving into the Aquarian age, we're moving into these energies of the Aquarian age, and our energy bodies are being activated by these powerful solar and cosmic energies that are awakening our latent DNA, are impacting our physical bodies, but also supporting our expansion of our consciousness. But I encourage you, as we're moving into the intensification of these energies, do not only what you need to do to ground yourself, but I really encourage you to make changes in your diet, do things that are helping support your body stay in balance, because these energies can impact us, causing increased fatigue, headaches, pain, but their real intent is to be shifting our energy bodies to support us in this movement into higher consciousness. And I'm going to be talking in some upcoming videos about how these energies are changing, transmuting our chakras and guiding us in how we can integrate in our energy bodies and then into our physical bodies these changes that we're going to be experiencing in our consciousness, in our energies, in our physical and emotional ways of being. So as we're approaching this full moon, we have just experienced, in the midst of this major geomagnetic storm, the exact opposition of Mars and Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius, opposite Mars at 1 degree of Leo. On January 11th, we will be experiencing the shifts in the lunar nodes, with the North Node moving into Pisces. The next day, Neptune will move into conjunction with the North Node in Pisces. Then on the 13th, we have the full moon. On the 15th or 16th, depending on where you are on the globe, Mars moves into its exact opposition with the sun. So all of these shifts are happening very rapidly as we're moving into this first month of 2025. Let me just touch briefly again on this powerful Mars-Pluto opposition before we look at the chart of the full moon. As you can see, on January 3rd, Mars was exactly opposite Pluto, both at 1 degree, with Mars at 1 degree of Leo, Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius. And this synodic cycle with Pluto started on February 14th, 2024, when Mars was exactly conjunct Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, guiding us in how we're moving into this Aquarian age and how we're transmuting this energy of Mars. November 3rd of 2024, Mars went into its initial opposition with Pluto. This is the second one where it's exact at 1 degree of Leo opposite Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius on January 3rd. And then they'll have their final opposition April 27th of 2025. Remember that when Pluto is in aspect to a planet, it often has three passes. And in each of those stages, Pluto is guiding that planet through a powerful transformational process. The initial pass with a Pluto transit is often calling us to look at what needs to be burned away in order to be in this transformational process, this alchemical process with Pluto to guide us into new ways of being. The second pass is often the time of the most profound transformation. And then the third time that Pluto goes into that aspect with a planet is when we're empowering that new way of being. So this is such a powerful time when Pluto is transforming Mars and guiding us in how we are reconfiguring our ways of being and acting in the world. I do believe that a lot of 2025 will be this theme of how are we transmuting Mars and our ways of being and acting in the world. And as I've talked about in earlier videos, I think it is about healing what's been out of balance since the age of Aries to reclaim a new way of experiencing Mars, which is less about ego and more about our alignment with the soul self, to be acting from the heart with courage, Leo, and in our own creative expression in a way that is of service to community, Aquarius. We experience this opposition 10 days before this full moon. And here we have the full moon with the moon at 23 degrees of Cancer, opposite the sun at 23 degrees of Capricorn. The moon is conjunct Mars, which has now gone retrograde back into Cancer, but still in opposition with Pluto, and Pluto's in a wide conjunction with the sun. So this Mars-Pluto opposition is an integral part of this full moon energy. And remember, a full moon is what's coming to fruition from the time of the new moon. And our new moon on December 30th, guiding us into this new year, was at the sun and moon were at 9 degrees of Capricorn. And if you remember, the meaning of that degree in the Sabian symbols was, how are we radiating the energy of love and peace and harmony into the world? So it's now coming to fruition at the time of this full moon. And let me talk about the energy of this full moon and the meaning of the Sabian symbols that give us some guidance as to what the energies of these placements are about. Just to give you a little background on the Sabian symbols, they were initially developed in 1925, a collaboration between Mark Edmund Jones, an astrologer, and Elsie Wheeler, a clairvoyant. They would sit in meditation and she would get visions for each degree, which is the image that you get when I'm reading you the Sabian symbol. And then the meaning of those degrees got further interpreted and elaborated on by Dane Rudhyar, who wrote his book, An Astrological Mandala, about the Sabian symbols in 1973. And he really saw each degree of the zodiac as carrying some meaning in our evolution of consciousness. So as we interpret the degrees of the Sabian symbols, they're guiding us in what we're meant to be developing in terms of our own consciousness and our own growth and evolution. So when I give you the meaning of these degrees, which give us further insight into how we can meditate on the meaning of these particular new moons or full moons or planetary, significant planetary energies, take them in and take in the symbols, take in the metaphors, take in these images to guide you in your own intuitive attuning to these energies and your own meditation process with, in this case, the full moon. So the image for the meaning of the Sabian symbol at 23 degrees of Cancer is a woman and two men on a bit of sunlit land facing south. And the deeper meaning of that is about how we are integrating the mystery of the language of image and metaphor to center ourselves in a harmonious blending of our inner and outer realities. If you think about that new moon and its meaning in the Sabian symbols as guiding us to begin to align with and radiate the energies of love, peace, and harmony into the world, this full moon is supporting us in attuning to the energies that are transforming us, guiding us to align with them so that we are more harmoniously integrating and blending our inner and outer realities. I think a major theme of 2025 is how do we reclaim that awareness that we are soul selves having a human experience, and that this realm that we're living in on the earth plane is an integral interweaving of spiritual and physical reality. So this full moon is saying, honor that what is outside of you reflects what is within you. As above, so below. The energies of cosmic consciousness are in us, all around us, and expressed through us. And the meaning of the Sabian symbol of the sun at 23 degrees of Capricorn is about the importance of being in community as spiritual seekers to have that support for how we can integrate our spiritual reality with this physical reality. So this is going to be, as this is our first full moon in 2025, this is guiding us into this journey that we're in the shifting of our energy bodies, the shifting of our consciousness to be more fully integrating spiritual reality with our day-to-day lives, with our physical reality. And in the midst of that full moon, we have this ongoing opposition with Pluto and Mars, with Mars now at 27 degrees of Cancer, going retrograde. So I believe this, this Pluto opposition was activating Mars to look at how are we bringing our individual self-expression into community. And Mars now retrograde is supporting us in reflecting on that and integrating the energy of Cancer. How are we acting in the world in a way that is Cancer, nurturing, caring, coming from emotional sensitivity, the capacity to honor our vulnerability and our compassion and be caring in how we interact with others. This is really underscored by the trine of the moon and Mars with Neptune at 27 degrees of Pisces, now conjunct the North Node in Pisces. How are we honoring our oneness, our interconnectedness with all that is? How are we more fully aligning with and focusing on that spiritual aspect of ourselves to support us in coming into more compassion with and for each other and living that out in our daily lives. This change in Mars and how we're working with that energy is also being activated now by Uranus at 23 degrees of Taurus, sextiling the moon and Mars. It's also significant that Saturn is trining the moon, sextiling the sun at 15 degrees of Pisces, and is supporting us in how we ground this shift in our consciousness, this movement into higher consciousness. How do we bring it into form and allow ourselves to manifest it in our daily lives? And it's interesting that we also have another healing centaur active in this full moon, in addition to Chiron. Nessus is at 17 degrees of Pisces, trining the moon, sextiling the sun, supporting us and clearing and healing what we need to heal in terms of our ancestral history and our human history across these past few ages that have led us into this imbalance in our sense of self and in our expression of Mars. Nessus is helping us clear that, heal that, to be open to this transformational process that we're in. It's also significant that the asteroid Pallas Athene is conjunct the sun, opposite the moon, guiding us to open more to our creative intelligence, our intuition, to be able to be working in attunement, in alignment with these energies that are guiding us through this time of transformation. And the one other key aspect I want to point out in this full moon chart is Chiron is opposite Lilith, and Lilith is squaring the sun and the moon at the time of this full moon. So you actually have a grand square with Hygeia, Erisina, Chiron, squaring the sun and moon, and opposite black moon Lilith at 21 degrees of Libra. And a part of the shift that we're in as we move into the age of Aquarius is reclaiming the wisdom of the sacred feminine. We're going through in these first few months of 2025 transformational energies targeting Mars, targeting Venus at the end of March. We're being supported to look at how we integrate those Mars-Venus energies within us, the sacred masculine and sacred feminine, to bring them into balance and to come into new ways of being in how we work with those energies. And remember that Mars is associated with the third chakra, Venus with the fourth chakra, the heart chakra. Mars is aligned with that solar plexus chakra, how we experience our sense of self and act in the world. Venus is associated with the heart and how we love. And these energies are being transmuted to guide us into balance, to guide us into integrating these new ways of being as we're in the Aquarian age. And Lilith is supporting us in remembering the wisdom of the sacred feminine and the meaning, Black Moon Lilith, of being in true mutuality in relationship. As we're moving out of these patriarchal power over paradigms, we're being guided into true mutual love and respect for each other and this balance and sacred union of the masculine and feminine energies within us. This is such an accelerated time of change that we're in. And I do believe that intensification and acceleration is going to continue through 2025 into 2026. So as we're working with this, really honor that we're in this mystery of the transmutational process that we're in as humanity, individually and collectively. And as these solar and cosmic energies are really activating these shifts in our energy bodies, in our psyches, in our physical bodies, I really encourage you again to do those things that ground you and support you. Really honor your connection with the earth, because the earth herself is supporting us in these shifts as these ley lines of the earth have come into their harmony time and are supporting us in our coming into more harmony and balance within ourselves. Remember, Rory Duff has said that as of the winter solstice 2024, these significant energy ley lines have come into harmonic convergence. And speaking of Rory Duff, I encourage everyone. I've been talking with my patron group about this and the people in my classes, and I want to share it in the larger community, that Rory is recovering from a very serious illness. And the more that we as a community can be sending him support and healing energy, that will support him in his healing journey. So I really encourage you to be sending him love and healing energy. But again, as he's described, the earth herself is supporting us in this ascension process, in this transmutation. And these energies that are now reverberating in the electromagnetic field of the earth are reverberating in our bodies, in our psyches, in our energy fields, and supporting us in this transformational process. But it can be destabilizing for many of us also. So hold with compassion the shifts that you're in. And I really encourage you to deepen your connection with the earth, with the sun, with the planets and stars, to be allowing yourself as much as possible to be working these shifts consciously, welcoming them so that you can integrate them in a more gentle way. With the significance of Chiron in Aries squaring this moon and sun at the time of this full moon, I really encourage you at the time of the full moon on January 13th to do a fire ceremony, to allow yourself. Remember, this energy of Chiron is healing us individually and collectively from these out of balance expressions of Mars, to help us align our actions and our sense of self more fully with our soul selves. So allow yourself at the time of this full moon to do a fire ceremony, to meditate, tune into your own intuition and connection with the energies of this full moon, and allow yourself to consciously release those ways in which you want to burn away the out of balance patterns from the past in your sense of self, in your actions, to be more fully aligning with your soul self and how you can come from your heart to express yourself, your gifts into the world in a way that is of service to others. This will really support you then in integrating the powerful energy of Mars full transformation on January 15th or 16th, depending on where you are on the globe, when Mars moves into opposition with the sun. Let me show you that chart. So on January 15th or 16th, we have that exact opposition of Mars opposite the sun, still in opposition with Pluto. So this is a double transformational time for Mars, supporting Mars, our personal will, in aligning with Pluto, the will of cosmic consciousness, divine will. And now Mars opposite the sun. This is the time in its journey with the sun that Mars has been on its initiate's journey, its hero's journey, its journey of exploration of the uniqueness of the self, to remember we're meant to align our self, our ego, our personality with our soul self, to then bring our gifts into the world in service. And it's significant that Mars now, in this time of opposition with the sun, is at 26 degrees of Cancer. Again, guiding us to move from that out of balanced expression of Mars as competition, conquest, over-identification with ego, individuation, separation, to come back into that awareness of Mars in alignment with our soul self, to be acting in the world from a place of compassion, Cancer, sensitivity, care, nurturing for ourselves, for others, for all of life. So this full moon is bridging that Mars-Pluto opposition with this time of Mars opposite the sun, this double transformational, transmutational time for Mars. You know, in our journey of evolution of consciousness, part of the meaning of the age of Aries was to be on this Mars journey of discovery of our individuality, our experience of individuation. For a variety of reasons, which I've talked about in previous videos, we got out of balance with that and got pulled into the patriarchal power over paradigms that have been so destructive for the earth and so destructive for all of us, men, women, children, the life around us on the planet. And in such a profound way, we're being guided as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, as we're moving out of the Kali Yuga, as we're moving through this year of profound shifts to transform our experience of Mars, to be coming from alignment with our soul selves, to be an expression of our uniqueness in the world in a way that is compassionate, loving, of service, and not coming from that destructive paradigm of the past. And let me show you where these energies are in the sky at the time of the full moon. And before I show the details of this, let me just give you a little bit of a context. Some of you have been asking about this visual astrology. This is looking at literally where the sun and planets are in the sky. This pink line is the ecliptic, the path of the sun and moon and planets. And it's showing where the moon and sun and the planets are in their relationship with the constellations in the sky. What's significant with the visual astrology is where in the stars are the sun, moon, and planets at that moment in time. Because remember, the tropical zodiac chart is no longer in synchronization with the movement of the stars with precession. So the planets in the tropical zodiac chart are no longer fully in alignment with where they are in the sky. And even the sidereal chart is not fully accurate. It does factor in the movement of precession, but it isn't always fully in alignment with where they are in the sky. So I think what's important is for us to connect with the visual astrology, honor what it's saying to us about these energies coming to us through the planets, from the stars, and then whether you use the tropical zodiac chart or the sidereal chart, it's guiding you in how do we integrate that and live that on the earth plane. At the time of this full moon, the full moon conjunct Mars is actually here in the stars of Gemini, very close to Pollux. Remember, the meaning of these stars, Castor and Pollux, are the twins. And in ancient mythology, across cultures, these stars were about how are we working with that duality of who we are and how we experience the light and dark, mortality and immortality that is a part of our incarnational experience here on the earth. So with the full moon and Mars here, I think, again, it is signifying that part of our work of this transformation of Mars is to be willing to see those shadow aspects of ourselves, to understand that duality of light and dark within us, and how are we allowing ourselves to work what's in the shadows, to heal with that energy of Chiron and Nessus, to be more integrated within ourselves so that the ways in which we manifest and express the energies of this full moon, the energies of Mars, are coming from that centered, harmonious place within us. The sun at the time of this full moon continues to be here in the stars of Sagittarius. If you remember, the new moon was moving into the stars of Sagittarius in alignment with the arrow of the archer pointing towards the galactic center. Now the sun is beginning to move out of those stars, but still in the stars of Sagittarius, guiding us in this time of transformation to keep our focus on source, to be allowing ourselves to keep in our awareness, our conscious awareness, that we are in this transmutational process of becoming homo luminous ones, of moving into higher consciousness. So again, this full moon is coming in the midst of this sequence of very powerful shifts. The Mars exact opposition with Pluto, the shift of the lunar nodes into North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, and I'll be talking more about that in upcoming videos. The full moon comes one day after Neptune's moved into a closer conjunction with the North Node. Then it comes just a few days before this powerful opposition of Mars and the Sun. So in such a powerful way, these energies of the sky and the energies of the earth and these solar and cosmic energies coming to us are supporting us in realizing this is a profound time of transmutation that we're in. We are being supported to burn away, to clear, to heal what is out of balance within us, to be more attuned, in alignment with our soul selves, to be more deeply in connection, in relationship with the consciousness of the planets and the stars, to be supported in shifting into these Aquarian paradigms and moving more and more rapidly into higher consciousness. But these energies are also guiding us. The lunar nodes, North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, the energies of Saturn in Pisces of this full moon are saying, ground that. It's important to be bringing these shifts in our consciousness into our day-to-day reality, into how we're living our lives, into how we're reweaving our spiritual experience with our physical experience, to be living that higher consciousness in our lives and emanating that energy of love and peace and the paradigms of the Aquarian age into the morphogenic field, into the collective consciousness to support the healing and transformation of our world. With these powerful energies, the shift in our world can happen very rapidly if we're working with these energies consciously. These solar and cosmic energies that are powerfully activating our Earth's geomagnetic field, our energy bodies, our collective consciousness, are guiding us in this change process and supporting us in realizing that we are not separate from the earth. We are not separate from these energies of the sun. We are not separate from the cosmos, and that we're being guided in this transmutational process. There are some on the planet who are resisting these energies and clinging to the power over paradigms of the past. But all of these planetary energies that are accelerating just in this first month of 2025 are saying, we are in a transformational, transmutational process. We can work with that or we can resist that, in which case that will be a turbulent time for those who are resisting these energies. But for those of us that are open to them, it's a time of heightened creativity, transformation, increasing consciousness. So again, I encourage you at the time of this full moon, take time to meditate, take time to open to these energies coming to us from the moon, from the sun, from Mars and its opposition with Pluto. Allow yourself to absorb that Chiron energy, helping us heal, and do a fire ceremony to be releasing what you need to release to be more open to this transformational process. And so much of the energy of 2025 is also about how we're more fully integrating the Aquarian paradigms and finding that way that we are aligning with our uniqueness, our true gifts, to be in collaboration and community with and for each other, to be empowering each other to co-create with the energies of the earth and cosmos, this new world that is about love and harmony and balance and peace. So blessings and love to all of you. And may we support each other to stay centered in the midst of these intense times of change, and to support each other in absorbing these energies physically, emotionally, and spiritually, to be in our own process of healing and transformation and awakening to these higher energies and to becoming Homo luminous ones, beings of light and love in the world. Blessed be.